Hey, welcome back. As you can see, I am in a new spot. I've got my new little YouTube corner. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, you might have seen the reel where I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought some new things to kind of just make the space a little bit more me. And this is going to be just my new little chat space. So I'll just sit down and talk with you right here in my massage chair because I don't have an actual little couch. It's a massage chair that I bought on a whim on Amazon one time. And yeah, it's just basically my little reading couch, but I really like this space. I think it's very inviting for me to just come and sit down and chat. So that's what we're doing today. And it's so funny. I was kind of racking my brain all day about what I wanted to talk about next. And I didn't feel that normal flow of inspiration that I get sometimes, where I just kind of have idea after idea. And this weekend was just one of those where I could not for the life of me decide what I wanted to chat about. I felt like nothing had really happened recently to give me something, a subject. What I decided to do was actually look through some of my old journals, at first for inspiration, but then I ended up finding this entry that I am going to read to you today. And funny enough, I wrote this back in December of last year, so December 3rd, 2025. And it's a little silly. It's a little silly, but I think there are some truths in this entry that I really want to share with you. So let's just get right into it. December 3rd, 2025. I just finished watching Nana. It's raining outside, thundering now. A candle flickers close to my face while I lie belly down on my yoga mat, head resting on my hand. Carolyn's making funny noises while music plays from the TV. Daniel's talking excitedly on the phone in the other room. The reality is, I don't know who it is I'm trying so hard to be, who it is I want to be. I feel like ever since I was younger, I've always tried to be something. In elementary and middle school, I tried to be cool. In high school, I still wanted to be cool, but in a nerdy way. In college, I lost myself. I was still trying to be cool despite being utterly alone. I've never had to try to be an actress. I've never had to try to be anything other than the raw materials Natalie. Natalie. That name, my name, sounds so foreign to me now. Maybe I'm just being dramatic, sentimental, melancholy, or downright nuts, wishing that I could be called something else. I remember when I went by Rose for a minute in 2019. I still think Rose DeVoe sounds pretty. But who am I? Who was I created to be? I go crazy trying to find some sort of identity and some kind of place in this world. The Bible says that God gives us a new name, and I really wonder what that is, what it even means. Natalie, the crafty girl with a million hobbies. Natalie, the nerd and cinephile, the bookworm. Natalie, the girl who is trying to learn multiple languages. Natalie, the pianist. Natalie, the social media influencer / content creator. Natalie, the singer, the writer, the actress, the 9-to-5 worker, the wife, the yogi, the health nut, gym-obsessed girl, the dancer. For now we see in a mirror dimly. I don't know who I am or who I want to be. Sometimes I feel disconnected from my body, from this person that I've created. I wouldn't know the real me. Is there a part of me, a part of her hidden within this persona that I've created? I'm not the things that I enjoy. I'm not my hobbies, degrees, my job, my friends, and as often and intensely as I identify with characters in books, movies, shows, and especially in anime, I am not those characters. I'm not Hachi or Edith. I'm me. But who is that? When you strip all those things away, when you strip away a fake personality and desire to be seen as something or someone, what am I left with? Who am I left with? How do you learn your real personality when you've spent 20 plus years living in a fake one? Well, I'm someone who loves and feels deeply. I'm someone who's easily moved by art, stories, and beauty. I'm someone who loves nature, animals, plants, the moon and stars, sunsets and sunrises, rivers, oceans, waterfalls, and mountains. I'm someone who is both spiritual and religious. I seek God. I believe in Him with all my heart. I'm someone that loves her husband more than anyone on earth. I make people laugh and smile. I care about others and I go out of my way for them. Sometimes I care a little too much and get hurt. I'm someone who loves to learn. I crave growth and self-improvement. I'm brave and strong, and I really mean it. Sometimes I get carried away. I can be unrealistic with goals and expectations or try to take on too much at once. I'm a dreamer. I don't want to settle for mediocrity, and my life has been unconventional, to say the least. I'm someone who's insecure, anxious, and really hard on herself, but I'm getting better at those things. Trying to, at least. And I'm kind. I can be a pushover, and sometimes I can even be fake, but at my core, I'm a kind person. Not apart from God, though. I'm someone who carves her own path. Hachi and I can be a lot alike, but you know what? I wouldn't have stayed with Takumi. I would have picked Nobuo, Nana, and my friends over that jerk, regardless if whether I was having his kid. And in a way, I did do that. I picked the good guy. I made my own decisions instead of letting life and bad circumstances and bad people decide for me. And as for who I want to be a light in this dark world. I'm not my job, my hobbies, or my interests. I'm not the things that I have or don't have. I'm just me. And that's where that ends. Like I said, I think some parts of that were very silly because I was very sad after finishing Nana, and I think I got a little depressed and really in my feelings. And I had this existential crisis because, you know, for those of you who know the show, you know, but if you haven't seen it, it is very much like the life of a girl in her 20s, trying to figure out who she is, what she wants in life, and about her friendships and relationships. And I identified a lot with that journey of basically learning through the mistakes that I was making and sometimes feeling like I was heading on the wrong path because of those mistakes. And there's a huge turning point in Hachi's life where she kind of punishes herself in a way for these mistakes that she's made and pushes away things that she could have had, people that could have been in her life that wanted to be. And I could make an entire video on Nana on its own because it's one of my favorite anime. I think it's a beautiful story. I would love to read the manga at some point, but that's not what this video is about. I think the point of this entry that I wrote last year is I'm almost 25, so kind of getting towards my mid-20s, and I have spent so much of my life trying to figure out who I am, as if that could just be defined by like one sentence or one attribute or one thing. And we are not that that simple, and life is not that black and white. We are such complex people and creatures, and there's so much more to us than what our day job is, or who we hang out with, or how much money we have, or just the list is endless, right? But I do think we all have a tendency, especially young adults, to just overly identify with one or more of those things that I just said. And for me, that really used to be my job. Like, I used to really identify myself with my day job and feel like whatever job I was working at the time, I had to be that thing. So, you know, when I worked at this very corporate, very high-end law firm, I was like, well, I have to be this business woman and I have to be super professional, and I need to go back to school and like learn all these things to fit into the world of law. And I have to, it was just, I was going so far off track of what I wanted to do. And that was recent. That was in 2025, 2024. Before that, you know, when I've worked at so many different jobs. I've worked in the hospitality and food industry. I've worked in a daycare. I've worked at a college. I mean, I've had so many different jobs, and I just would always overly identify myself with that job as if I had to be that role. I'm fortunate enough to actually be working at a ministry right now, and it's the best job I've ever had, hands down. And what I love about this job is it has not made me or put me in a position to where I had to choose between what I love to do and having the job that pays the bills. This job has helped me a lot financially, emotionally. I have good relationships with my coworkers, with my boss, and it is a very healthy work environment. And so that's been huge just on its own. But it's also a place where I've had the flexibility to keep acting. And everybody there that I work with knows that outside of where I'm working, I'm an actress. And I don't get made fun of for that. I don't ever get put in like this weird I have to pick one or the other situation like I have in past jobs. I've had a couple jobs where they made it very clear that I would have to choose one or the other. And I feel like here, because I came in with that honesty of like, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I do, I haven't had a problem. And I'm actually encouraged to continue pursuing acting outside of the ministry and to, keep pursuing my dream. So that's been really nice. And I think it really helped me kind of break that bad habit of like having to identify with my day job. I'm an actor, first and foremost, and a writer and an artist. But even that, I feel like we can be tempted to over-identify with our passion as well. And I think passion is very crucial to who we are, but it's not the only thing. And I think that's really the point I'm trying to get across is you're not just one thing. You're not just a job or a passion or a title or a salary. You are a lot more than that. And I think that's what makes it so hard to figure out, especially in your early 20s. And, if you don't have a good support system, which I used to not have a very good support system, I think it's even harder then to really understand who it is that you are. I think we're all kind of on this journey, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I've 100% crossed the finish line of finding who I am, but I think it is a lifelong process. And if you're on that journey yourself, I think what I really want to get across also is that you're not alone in that. And I really hope that this channel becomes more than a channel, that it will be a community. I think it's already starting to become one, and that makes me very happy, but I would love to see it become a community where people can figure those things out and can support one another. I feel that especially recently I have been very supported in the dream that I'm pursuing and in the pursuit of the life that I'm trying to create. And I don't think that that's something that happens overnight. I think learning who you are and what you want from life is a day-by-day process of faith, taking healthy risks, making mistakes, learning new things, saying yes to opportunities that come your way. It's a lot of just stepping out and believing in yourself and maybe not having the clearest picture of what the future holds, but just moving forward towards it. That's something I'm really trying to live by right now because I don't have it all figured out and I don't think all my ducks are in a row. And I think maybe by somebody else's standards or definitions, maybe I'm not the most successful person, but I am learning to define what success is to me and what my values are. So by my own definitions, I am very successful because I have peace, I have good, healthy, loving relationships and friendships in my life, and because I am, however imperfectly, working towards my dreams. And to me, that is success. It's been a while since I finished watching Nana, and I think that right now in this place where I am in life, I do feel like I'm getting closer to having a grasp on who it is that I want to be. And I think something I've learned is that you can change, and the circumstances you were born into, the personality that you were born with, we're born one way, right? I think that can change. And for me, it has been changing a lot in the past few years, especially when I started setting boundaries to protect my mental health, to really focus on the path that I feel called to. I do feel that I have changed a lot and grown up in a lot of ways. And I used to be afraid of change, but now it's something that I look forward to and that I'm working towards, because I do want to change and I want to change for the better. And I think that's something that we should all strive for. And it can be scary, especially if you're somebody who's not used to change and who prefers the comfort zone. It can be scary to step outside of that. But I want to encourage you that it's possible, especially if you have even one person in your life, in your corner, that is rooting for you, that you know you can get support from. I think that helps a lot in knowing that you are safe to change. If there's, something a bad habit that you want to get rid of, or maybe a dream or goal that you want to start stepping towards, change can be a good thing. And I think we all need to invite a little bit of that into our lives. I'm not the same person that I was on December 3rd of 2025. And I know it's only been a short few months since then, but I'm not that same person. I'm different. I've changed, I've grown. Things have happened between now and then that have shaped me, and that's just kind of how life works. I think we can benefit from being a little less hard on ourselves for not being perfect and not being this ideal person that we have envisioned in our mind, because we really don't know where we're going to be a few weeks from now, a few months from now. And so I truly think that it is a day-by-day process of trust and of just moving forward. Who I want to be is a light in this dark world. That's what my value is. And maybe for you, that is something different. Maybe it looks different. But try to find that, like just one thing to kind of guide you as a compass. It's like your true north. What is it that you are working towards being? And again, it's not a title, it's not a salary, it's not a follower count, it's a value. And for me, that's being a light. And, the world is insanely dark and depressing, especially, if you're constantly being inundated with bad news on your feed, with just all this dark stuff that's happening in the world. It can be easy to get overwhelmed. And so I think for me, it's important to want to be a light, because I think everybody's being affected by that darkness and by all these things that are happening. And so how can I fix it? Well, I can't fix all the problems in the world, but I can show up as a light in somebody's life, even if that somebody is just like my family members, to be that light for them, to not be their stress, but to hopefully be that sense of comfort and peace and safety for them. To my coworkers and the people I interact with day to day, to treat them kindly, to speak life into them. That's the kind of person that I want to be. And, it's kind of a general idea, but it gives me something to work towards every day. So I hope that if nothing else, you know that you're not alone in this process, in this journey of changing and becoming the person that you want to be. And I want to encourage you that it's not something that happens overnight. It's something we do have to work towards every single day, but it's possible. And if you have been wanting to change, if you have been wanting to work towards something, know that you are not alone and that you can do it. It just takes that small step, just take that first small step. I hope that this gives you a little bit of encouragement to do that and a little bit of inspiration. Funny enough, right before I made this video, I actually watched Markiplier's video from like 12 years ago called Believe in Yourself. And it's so funny because, you watch that video and he shows like the apartment that he lives in and is talking about like how his channel's growing and how a lot of people are asking him, how do you be successful at YouTube? And his advice is to believe in yourself. And it's so funny to see him, 12 years younger in that apartment and knowing where he is today. You know, the fact that he just made a very successful movie, he has such a big and supportive community. And that didn't happen overnight. The person that he is today, I'm sure, feels so different from the person that he was 12 years ago. But it took that belief, it took that faith, and that walking towards an idea of what he wanted for his future. I really recommend that video if you need a little jolt of inspiration, because it certainly did that for me. But that's really the point, is you don't know where you're going to be in 12 years. But it starts today. It starts with believing today and asking yourself that question: who am I and who do I want to be? Thank you so much for joining me for this chat. I am looking forward to all the chats that we're going to have here in the future. I am excited to just keep talking about my own personal journey of growth, of pursuing my dream. I have a lot of cool projects that I'm excited to talk about, like the feature film that I'm working on with my husband, and voice acting, and just so many things. So comment below maybe something that you would like to talk about one of these days. And again, just thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next one.